All right, get ready.
You have 2 minutes. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Latrina Foster, Director of the Fulton County Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. As promised, we're going to assist you throughout COVID-19. As we all know, that COVID-19 has paralyzed our nation. It has placed us all in a brand new normal. A lot of us are sheltering in place. We can't be with our loved ones. Activities that we've been connected to in the past are no longer in existence. We have to step outside of the box and do things in a new norm. We have to get connected on virtual platforms, connect with our family via Facebook or some other video chat. But we're trying our best to stay connected. And we emphasize that it's very important to maintain connection with your friends and family throughout this process of social distancing. Physical distancing, let me say that right. So it's physical distancing, not social distancing. We can't physically be connected with one another, but we can maintain our social connection with our friends and family. As we promised, the Fulton County Department of Behavioral Health is committed to ensure that we provide you with cope and hope. We've requested our citizens to send us questions and concerns that they wanted us to address during our weekly video series. Today, we're bringing you the state of mental health. We have some panelists that are going to share their personal life experience, as well as panelists that can share with you how the school system responded when COVID-19 pushed us all. Ryan Cole. Ryan Cole has been an advocate for individuals that are dealing with substance use disorders. And Ryan Cole has been committed to Fulton County by coming and sharing his own personal story. And we thought that it was imperative that you hear from someone that may have been in the same place that you're in today. Someone that can provide you with some effective coping strategies to manage your life throughout COVID-19 and post-COVID-19. We want to give you coping skills that you can implement today and continue on with tomorrow. So welcome, my dear friend, Ryan. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, ma'am. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us, Ryan. We're talking today about the state of mental health. And so, Ryan, I personally know your story, but if you want to share with our listening audience a little bit about Ryan Cole.
Okay, well, long story to, let's see. Well, I guess from knowing you guys, it's from, I used to be a heroin addict, or an opiate addict for about 7 years. And the last 3 of those years, I was a intravenous heroin addict myself. And I got clean about 6 years ago. And for the last 2 years, I've been trying to get out and talk to people in the community and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I'm getting nervous with talking to you. I apologize.
You're fine. Take your time, Ryan. Take your time. We appreciate your transparency.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But so it was really stressful getting back into normal life and everything after rehab and getting back to my family and all of those things. And I guess more what we're talking about with the COVID and all that stuff is I'm just trying to, I've had a couple of people, actually 2 people that have died during this COVID that have overdosed on heroin. And I was talking to him, one of my friends, right before he was supposed to be going to rehab, and he said he wanted to play basketball with me when he got back or whatever. And then he was in rehab, got out, the COVID started and everything. And I'm guessing he was pretty lonely, I would assume, just kind of stuck by himself or whatever. And I didn't hear from him for like, it was probably like 3 weeks or so. And then the next thing I found out was probably about, I think it was probably like 6 weeks ago or whatever, that he did one shot and he died or whatever. He's
Wow.
33, 34, I think. And so he's the 14th person I know that has died from all this. And I really I just want to be able to, like, especially I noticed, like, even on like Facebook and just like social media and stuff like that, it's like everybody else is so overwhelmed with what's going on in the world that I noticed that it's like people weren't even on like Facebook like saying anything about that this guy died. He was like everybody loved him, good friends, all that kind of thing. And it's like there weren't even kind of swept under the rug. It felt like the funeral was just for the family
Right.
kind of thing. And so it's just really difficult to, I don't know. I feel bad for, I know people that are still in that stuff right now. And especially when you don't have meetings and you don't have those kind of things that you can have access to and everything like that. It's like, I hope people can find a way to at least get real close to their family and get real close to Christ, because that seems to be the only two things that are like can sustain you, at least in my belief, kind of thing. But that's what I want to help. Is just try to help people to know that that's the best way to get out of this, hopefully.
Absolutely.
I know that was all over the place. I apologize.
No, it really wasn't. Ryan, you actually hit some things that we've received emails about. You know, when you experience a loss of a friend or a family member, moment with that loved one through a funeral service that we typically were used to having. Now people are having very small funerals or graveside funerals where everybody's outside next to their car, and not being able to share that experience with friends and family that are still here that can discuss those memories of that loved one.
Yes, ma'am.
So we appreciate you sharing that story. And so do you have any advice for anyone that, when we did our first Cope and Hope series, we received a question, and there was an individual that was in recovery but had not been in recovery long and did not specify their drug of choice. However, since COVID-19 impacted their lives, they were feeling that sense of hopelessness, feeling lonely, isolated, and guess what they wanted to do? The coping skills they knew best back in the past, which was to use drugs. So do you have any advice for anyone that is kind of on the verge of going back to one of those coping skills that's really not going to truly assist you?
Well, I would say anybody that has gotten out of it and now they're, like you're saying, like they're on the fence of like wondering if they should use or if not or whatever. So they've at least had some kind of sense in their mind to know, okay, I've gotten clean and I know that I shouldn't be doing this anymore. But like you were saying, when you get, obviously the nation is depressed right now and people are all of the above, XYZ. And I feel like I was saying, like, to be honest, the only thing that I've seen work like 100% all the time is people that are 100% honest with their families. Like that was one of the most difficult things for me. It's like when I was stealing and doing all of the things that I was doing to get my heroin and stuff like that, it was really difficult. Even after I was clean and everything, it's to this day, it's still difficult to talk to my mom and my sister. It's because there's a lot of the shame for what you did and everything. So but on the flip, it is the best gift to be able to have those conversations and then hopefully one day to even joke about them with your family and everything, and they can see you on the flip side of it, on the other side of it. And so I would say for somebody to definitely stay close to your family, even if you only have one. I have a very small family, but the ones that you have, keep them as close as you can. And like I said, having a personal relationship with Jesus Christ has fixed everything else. It makes it you have to work on everything, obviously, kind of thing, but it has definitely formed everything, shaped everything for everything to work.
Thank you, Ryan. So family support sounds like something that is extremely important
Big time.
for individuals, not only with a substance use disorder, someone that's in recovery, and or someone that may have a mental health disorder, but that is very important, that a support system is extremely important via your family. And if you don't have that connection with your family,
Best
at least
friend.
find you some accountability partners so that you
Mhm.
all can hold one another accountable and provide each other with encouragement through this stressful time. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So Miss Electra Evans, I see that you're on.
Okay.
How are you today?
I am fine, but I can't get. Oh, Jesus. I done cut her off. Hello?
No, I'm here. And do you have
Oh, can you
Elijah
hear
with
me?
you? I can hear you just fine.
Okay, here he is. I think my camera is muted.
Miss Evans, I was actually going to start with you.
Uh-huh.
So first of all, let me introduce you and your son. So Electra Evans is the mother of Elijah Walker. Elijah Walker graduated from our Clubhouse program in Fulton County, which is a substance use prevention and intervention program for adolescents. And he was a successful graduate of that program. And we're so proud of Elijah. And we're so proud of how he comes back and tries to help other adolescents. I really admire that because that's what life is about, reaching back and helping the next person walk through a process that you've
Yes.
been through. So Ms. Evans, as you heard Ryan say, his family is his lifeline through ensuring his successful recovery, ongoing recovery. What would you say your relationship with Elijah has been since he's graduated from the Clubhouse program, and kind of tell us a little bit about what was it like prior to Elijah participating in the Clubhouse? And then what is your relationship now post graduation from the Clubhouse?
Elijah is my great nephew who came to live with me when he was 9 years old. And so when I first got Elijah, he had been through a lot of things, a lot of instability, bounce from place to place, living with people to people. And he ended up coming to me through Clayton County DFACS. So at 9 years old, I got this little boy who didn't have any stability, who did not have any structure or anything. And so Elijah pretty much had failed every class in school up until the time I got him. I got him, provided some stability, went on later on. I finally went through the whole process, and it was Elijah. And when he came, I already had two of his siblings with me. So I had the three kids, a 9-year-old boy and a 6-month-old baby and a 6-year-old little girl, and they're his siblings. So went on later on and adopted Elijah when he was 14. And he started having some difficulties. I can't even remember who referred. Start getting some counseling at Odyssey, and Odyssey referred him to the Clubhouse because his biological mom had really extensive history with drug abuse and alcohol use, and we wanted to make sure that a lot of that stuff is genetic, and we just wanted to make sure that Elijah didn't fall into some of that same stuff. And he did some little experimenting and everything, but got him in the Clubhouse, started coming to the groups and participating with a lot of other different kids and activities and being part of the group. And now he's turned, he if I had to say so myself, he turned out to be a pretty good kid. So
Wonderful.
he's done real well. They've had opened him up to a lot of different opportunities at the Clubhouse. He's learned a lot of things, learned how to tie that tie, learned how to do that resume, do a lot of things that's going to help him. And they've done some things with having people come and talk to him. So right now he's on track to join the Army National Guard, and they've made it available that if he needed to speak to some more recruiters and some of the stuff he likes to do, he had the opportunity to go to a recording studio. So the clubhouse has been real good with those activities for him. We're doing stuff that I never would have thought about doing. So it's been very helpful. He stayed on task with the groups. He's not, I don't even worry about him with experimenting with drugs or alcohol or anything. So, I mean, I'm very proud of his, how much he has grown.
Awesome. Congratulations, Elijah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. We're talking about the state of mental health today, and I just felt it was so important that we hear from a strong young man such as yourself, who has really vested time in yourself by participating in the clubhouse where you were able to engage with other peers around your age and open yourself up to some new ideas. But we just wanted to hear from you about how are things going right now that you're not able to be around your friends and the world has kind of shifted where you can't hang out with your buddies and do the things that you did in the past. What are you doing with yourself to stay busy?
Well, right now I'm just like helping out with the family, like just hanging with the family. Like I'm just helping out with family. That's it. I mean, that's pretty much all. And focus on school, and now I'm graduated. So, like,
well, congratulations.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your next step. So how has that process been since you're not able to actually physically meet with people and have those face-to-face interviews? Are you guys doing it through Zoom?
Nah, I mean, like, I don't have like that much friends, so like, it's just me by myself right now. But you know, I talk to a couple people, but it's not like as face to face or on call or anything.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I see them.
So what are you doing to manage to stop yourself from getting stressed out or getting depressed right now?
I mean, my family pretty much keep me up at the moment. So like, that's not really a problem. Just avoiding stuff like that because like, one, I don't go places. So
okay,
it's not like, and two, my family, they just help me. So
awesome. So family has been the key word today.
Yeah.
You're saying family, Ryan is saying family. So I hope that people are listening and using this opportunity to create or reestablish or cultivate our relationships with our family. Because as our panelists are telling us, that is very important. Thank you, Elijah.
Oh, thank you.
Ms. Hall, how are you today?
Fabulous. How about yourself?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
So
for
we have
inviting me.
Lucy Hall here with us, who is the CEO and founder of Mary Hall Freedom House. Did I lose you? Okay, Ms. Hall, tell us about what is Mary Hall Freedom House?
Absolutely. Mary Hall Freedom House is a comprehensive behavioral health program for women, children, veterans, and families. We do everything from emergency housing to permanent housing, along with substance abuse, mental health services, all the wraparound services as it relates to moving people from their state when we meet them to self-sufficiency, whether that state be homelessness, whether that state be substance abuse and mental health, whether that state be domestic violence. We help people to move into self-sufficiency through a plethora of different services that we offer.
So are you able to still offer these services as COVID-19 has taken over?
Absolutely. So interesting. I want to comment on the young man and give kudos to that young man who was speaking. And I just want to say this as it relates to, I'm sorry, I'm actually at a closing. So excuse me. As it relates to connection, you know, that is the key for all of us. We were made for relationship and connection. And so it is imperative that we feel that we have a connection, whether it's to family, friends, community. And I think that's what the success of Mary Hall Freedom House has been. And so I would encourage people to make sure they stay connected. And because of technology, even as we are all in different places right now, we are all connected. And so I cannot express that enough to people. Don't stay isolated, connect. There are so many services available on Zoom. So how have we survived during this pandemic? We went immediately to telemedicine. You know, one of the things when it first happened is we worked very diligently to make sure that every one of our units and every one of our sites had all of the technology it needed, smart TVs, computers, et cetera, et cetera. And that's how we provided communication. But we did have what I consider a staff that, kudos to them, who continue to provide those services, as you know, Fulton County and other partners provided that protective gear to us so that we could continue to provide services to the 300 and something people we serve across Fulton County, City of Atlanta, as well as Gwinnett. So it has been a challenge every day. You know, I totally live by one day at a time because that's all we get. And it has been challenges along the way, but most importantly, it has been successful.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
People that are, as you would say, in the state where they are when you meet them, and help them transition to a state of independence and self-sufficiency. Tell us a little bit about your own life of recovery.
Absolutely. So I'm a person in long-term recovery, and what that means, it's been 30 years since I've had the need to use any mind or mood altering substance. And by the grace of God, He has told me when I got into recovery that I needed to help others. And so that's why Mary Hall Freedom House came into being. I believe, just like the young men in this panel, we were saved to help others. We're in recovery to help others. We didn't do this by our own chance or our own circumstance, because we know there are many youth who did not make it. And so I was, by the grace of God, 27 when my life turned around, and I'm grateful to that. And since then, Mary Hall will be 24 years old June 1st, because I have been blessed to be able to help others. And again, you know, in a day and time, in a world we live in where community is so rare because of technology, because we're all into our own thing, I thank God that that's the one thing Mary Hall Freedom House does offer. We offer community, we offer connection, we offer people today who are lost the opportunity to find people who love them and who care about them. And so I'm really grateful for what God has been able to create through Mary Hall Freedom House.
Awesome. So it sounds like that you've been working with individuals that are currently in your program to recreate that connection with their family and loved ones that they had lost connection with in the past.
Absolutely. That's a major part, the family reunification and being able to connect people with their families. We do provide family services, individual and group counseling. We provide family services throughout the organization. And again, we have a father family advocate, one who, even if the father of the child is not in their life, we reach out to him and try to make that possible, because you and I both know a lot of times the absent father is a lot of the reasons why a lot of our children do go astray. And so we try to work with that brother, whoever he may be, to say whether he's in jail, whether he is free, whether he is working, how can you be a support to your children? Even if it's not with this woman, you two, let's learn how to co-parent. And so we do those kinds of things, as well as just providing services and helping family members to understand addiction and mental health. I think that's one of the things that I'm really big on, is changing the stigma around mental health and substance abuse. And so, you know, we've done a campaign. We have a movie and a book out right now called Hope Village and Hope Dealer, because it's about changing the stigma, changing the language that we use. You notice that I didn't say I'm clean, because I was never dirty. I was sick, and now I'm in recovery. You notice that there are certain languages that I didn't say. I don't raise my hand and identify as an addict or an alcoholic. I raise my hand and say I'm a person in long-term recovery. I got to speak those things as though they are. And so those are the things that we really try to empower people to know. Speak that what you are believing God for. Speak that what you are today. We're in recovery. We're not addicts.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Thank you very much. So I will say one thing about the stigma. I think that post-COVID-19, even right now during COVID-19, thankful that the world is talking about mental health and ensuring that people obtain some sense of stability with their mental health and they pay attention to their mental health. This is something we do every single day, but I'm glad that the spotlight is shining now on mental health. And I hope that we don't lose this traction, because I know post-COVID, we are all going to have to step up and respond to some things based on predictions around statistics on how numbers are going to drive up around when it comes to suicide, when it comes to substance use disorders, depression and anxiety. So we all need to be ready to step up to the plate and ensure we definitely thank you for the work that you're doing within our community. So I also have Miss Montgomery with me today. She's from Fulton County Schools, great partner, love working with her. And so Chelsea, I know that you guys were hit hard. I think Fulton County Schools were the first schools to kind of shut down in response to COVID-19. And so the world was looking like, why are you closing all your schools? And so now everyone is pretty much on the same page. Tell me what life has been like having to close the doors and continue that academic focus, because the school year wasn't over.
Yeah, I think for us, the secret was looking at what we currently do and can we flip those things into a virtual environment. So not creating all kinds of new things, but taking what we have and how do we replicate that? A good example is, at any given time, a student can walk in and talk to their school counselor. So our school counselors didn't have cell phones. So we quickly said, can we get them phones? So then, that's replicating the ability to see your counselor at school anytime you need to. So it was looking at the current supports we have and just trying to flip them. Some of that was easy and some of it wasn't. I think the biggest challenge, to echo what others have said, is that making connections. Just trying to locate our kids and find our families. I think they heard schools closed rather than we're still here for you and please connect with us. And we can still support you. So just trying to, and we're still trying to make those connections. So I hope that anyone listening today can hear, we are still here. And we have even more ways to support families now than we had before. So just trying to mimic our same supports and then just finding people as fast as we can.
Yeah, because I noticed that a lot of the children that were in school and receiving lunches and breakfast, you all stepped up to the plate, and how are you addressing that?
Yeah, I was out there those first couple of weeks, and really it was just what our food services department was able and still is able to pull off is just remarkable. And it was pretty smooth. I mean, you get in there, they had all the bags packed. The families would pull up. We tried to stay as no contact as possible. And then in addition to giving them school meals, we also quickly put together a resource list of local food pantries to where they are located and stuck one of those orange flyers in every bag. So not only were they getting school lunches, but they also knew how to access food in their communities for more sustainability as well.
Awesome. Let me take a moment and let our listening audience know that if they have questions, they can email their questions to social@fultoncountyga.gov. That's the word social, SOCIAL, at fultoncountyga.gov. Ms. Montgomery, what kind of services are you guys, what type of collaboration are you doing with the students to ensure their mental health is being addressed?
Yeah, so a couple of things. We use something called Check and Connect, which is a very structured mentoring program. And we with the cell phones, we continued those twice a week connections with all the students on the caseload, just a little different method. We have learned kids like to text. So that ability to text has been really, really important. So we've done lots of check-ins. Every one of my staff, which is over 400 people, they have been required to connect with at least 20 kids at every school every week. So really upping those connections. And then partnership wise, our on-site mental health partners, they did a great job of flipping to telehealth very quickly. So all of our students that were receiving those more therapeutic services, that all continued. We got permission to use our school devices, and they're keeping their devices over the summer, so that those devices and hotspots and that ability to keep those connections and keep those things going. I think one thing we can't do is wait until we return to get in front of this. I'm really trying to approach this from a prevention standpoint. Let's keep everything going, up those connections, and then hopefully we're in a better place when we do sometime get to our new normal.
Thank you, Chelsea. Do you have any words of encouragement for parents who, I hear a lot of parents say, wow, I've turned into a teacher, I'm trying to work from home, and I have my child here with this homework that is foreign to me.
Yes, math is hard when you haven't seen it in a while. We've put together some really good resources on our website. I think there's an overwhelming number of resources for parents. And so we went through and kind of made a special curated collection from very high quality resources on our Fulton County Schools website. So on the website, we have our food resources, our mental health resources, and then a section of parent resources. Because some of our kids' basic needs are met and they're doing pretty well, but trying to manage parents having to work and their kids are starting to struggle or school's really difficult. We've put together really good resources at all different levels for our parents. But
Awesome,
we're almost done. Today's the last day of school. So
It's today the last day of school for Fulton County Schools. Everyone's celebrating. So what about the students that, I'm a senior. I have been waiting for this moment for probably 6 years, at least 4. And now I don't get to walk across the stage. I can't get my diploma. Well, I'll get it in the mail, but I'm not gonna have that traditional graduation ceremony. What are you guys doing to encourage the students?
Yeah, and that it's just tough. And same, I mean, we have college graduates and they're, even pre-K graduation, kindergarten graduation is exciting and things everybody looks forward to. The schools have been incredibly creative in what they have done around billboards and drive-through graduation. And I just think we tried to make the best of a tough situation. We've tried to push out, there are lots of businesses and companies that are doing things too. You could get a free box of Krispy Kremes this week. I think Pizza Hut, you can get free pizzas right now. We're never going to be able to replicate traditional graduation, and we know we're not. So just trying to do the best we can to celebrate our kids, get them yard signs, get them on a billboard, and because what we don't want to happen is that we just don't celebrate it. And there is still, an open line for depending on how things look and what things look like. And, do our communities want to have celebrations and things like that? So we know graduation is a tough subject and our kids have earned that celebration, but, we're trying to get creative and do the best that we can.
And I will say that I'm very proud of some of the innovative ways that Fulton County Schools has celebrated their graduates. I mean, I would watch the news and I would see students pop up on the screen congratulating them. I've seen billboards of students that are graduating. So, I mean, just thinking outside of the box, I've seen parents where they would have a drive-by graduation celebration and some teachers are involved. So I think that everyone is doing the best job that they can do in a situation that we have never, ever been in before. Once again, I want to remind my listening audience that you can send your questions to social@fultoncountyga.gov. Sorry, Ms. Montgomery, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think it's a good perspective that we're living history. There will be kids someday that write papers about this pandemic that we're in, and just trying to keep that perspective. And I think that just helps us to stay grounded that what we're experiencing is history and nothing that anybody has a guidebook for.
Right. Thank you so much, Ms. Montgomery. So once again, I'm Latrina Foster, the Director of the Fulton County Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. Today, I have been talking to Ryan Cole, who is an advocate for individuals that are in recovery or individuals that are currently using substances and would like to transition. And he is there to help, to provide encouragement. I have Lucy Hall, who is the CEO and founder of Mary Hall Freedom House, where her job, her passion, her life goal is to ensure that people are reconnected to their family, loved ones, as they make that transition from the state where they connect with her in to a state of independence and self-sufficiency. We appreciate the hard work that she is doing in our community, the number of lives that she's saving and connecting. We just want to say thank you so much to you, Ms. Hall. We know that you are really putting your heart and soul into what you do on a daily basis. Then we have Chelsea Montgomery, who works with Fulton County Schools. She is the executive director. I may get this wrong, but it's psychology, social workers, and it's one more group, but she handles all of that. She ensures that our students are mentally sound and they have the resources or barriers in front of them for academic success. And we definitely appreciate what you do as well, Ms. Montgomery. And then we have Electra Evans, who has stepped up to the plate. She's taken in one of her loved ones. And this young man, Elijah Walker, has just flourished and he is doing great things. He's moving on, he's graduated, and now he's going on to the next step in his life. And we're so proud of you, Elijah. And we thank you for participating and sharing your story and being able to connect with other people that can relate to you. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to see if we have any questions from any of our listening audience. And so I will turn it over to our wonderful staff within FGTV.
One question that we do have is, what should I do if I'm struggling with addiction, but I'm afraid to seek help because of COVID-19?
So Ms. Hall, I'll allow you an opportunity to answer that question.
Absolutely. Because as I was telling you earlier, Ms. Foster, that in the beginning of COVID-19, we did stop admitting individuals because none of us knew the climate that we were facing or what to expect. But we have started opening up, and Fulton County has provided testing. There are so many ways for you to get tested, and our community stays tested. So everyone who currently lives at Mary Hall Freedom House, thanks to Fulton County, has been tested, and by the grace of God, everybody is negative. So don't sit there and let your addiction make an excuse for you not to get the help you need. Step out there. I also want to comment to you, Ms. Foster, because you said this, we haven't seen the worst of this yet because of the aftermath of this. That's what concerns me. We have seen a number of people who have come in and due to their mental health and being unstable, having to stay in an apartment unit or stay isolated, they couldn't do it. You know, mentally they struggled with doing that. So they may have been 1013 or had to seek out the psychiatric help or get stable on medicine. So, and once they got stable, they were able to come back. And so I would just say to that person who needs help, don't let your addiction make any excuses. We're going to take precautions to make sure you're safe, and so are we.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hall. Thank you. And I echo everything you just said.
The next question that we have is actually for Ryan. What if you have tried and failed at recovery and you're ready to give up? What advice do you have for that person?
Ooh. Keep trying. Oh, there was quite a few times that I relapsed. That's a very difficult question. Stay grounded with your family. Even if it's like I was saying earlier, like it's worth telling your family. or your friends or somebody, even if you're thinking that they're going to think differently on you or something like that, like say something to somebody. Cause like I wish that I was kind of scared to ever, because of the stigma, like you guys were saying earlier, it's like I didn't want to tell everybody like what I was doing and everything like that. But it's like it's now and what's going on and everything. It's like if you're on that last rope, tell somebody. I know that's very like easy to say that, but that's like the only thing I can say.
Okay,
Thank
and
you, Ryan.
this is an open question. What can you do if you see a family member or friend who is nearing or experiencing a relapse?
Is Ms. Hall with me?
I am. Definitely would say that there are, again, many ways to stay connected. The Georgia Council on Substance Abuse has a hotline that's a peer mandated hotline. There are so many connections. There are people who are disconnected because there's online 12-step meetings, there's online different resources that are available. So again, I would say don't stay stuck, get help, get connected. Don't stay isolated, because the isolation is what draws people back into their head. I don't care whether it's mental health or substance abuse. If you stay in your head too long, and me being one of them people, if I stay in my head too long and don't pray and don't talk to other people, I probably start thinking a little batty myself. So get help. It is available. Stay connected. That's imperative to anybody who is in recovery. And to
Thank you,
all of
Ms.
us,
Hall.
period. You don't even have to be in recovery or have a mental disorder. Staying connected is imperative to all of us. This is the struggle of everybody who's involved in isolation.
Thank you. And I noticed that the question, they wanted to know how to help a family member. And so, as Ms. Hall said, there are a lot of resources out there. And so I think just collecting various resources, but it's going to be up to your family member to want the help. One thing we cannot do is force people into treatment. They have to want it.
The next question also talks about a family member. One of our listeners wrote in, I have a family member who needs treatment for alcoholism and substance abuse, but unfortunately he doesn't have health care insurance since he's lost his job. He needs inpatient residential care. Are there places right now that are accepting the uninsured?
So we can definitely do some research and post something for you. And I would say you would want to check with the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, because they actually fund agencies to provide services to people that are uninsured and underinsured. So to pay, do not allow your ability or inability to pay for services to be a barrier for you to get to the next step. Were you going to add something to that, Ms. Hall?
I was just going to say pretty much what you said, but again, you know, depending on where they are, I don't know where, if they're in Fulton County, there's places like St. Jude's for men. There are a number of places that are for men, and it's not about your ability to pay, it's your desire to get into recovery. So we get funds from both Fulton County and from DBHDD, the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, for that specific service to provide services for people who are indigent or otherwise could not afford it or do not have health care. So don't allow that to be your reason for not seeking help.
Great question.
The last question that I have is, what do you say to someone who is in recovery, who has lost their job during this recession? How do you keep them from falling off the wagon? How do you keep them having positive thoughts and being in good spirits?
Ryan, how can someone help someone right now to prevent them from sliding back?
I would reiterate what Ms. Hall said, like even if it had to be like virtual 12 steps, just little things like that, just any kind of like a program or something that you could be using to try to help you work through that, especially when you don't have a job. I know that I know that's real stressful. Yeah, I would say probably try to use some programs like online or something like that. I'm not very like vice on that, but I would assume that that would be the best way.
Ms. Evans, there's been a lot of questions about trying to help family members. And I just want to know, do you have any advice to people that see that their loved ones are in some type of distress, and how can they step up and be a resource to that individual?
I missed that question. Can you repeat it, please?
It's okay, I'll re-ask. I just wanted to say, from your perspective, how can you encourage our listening audience? Because I heard several questions about people wanting information for someone else. And so when we see our loved ones in a distressed situation and we want to help, do you have any tips?
I think so many times people don't seek out the help that they need. I think as a culture, African Americans do not seek out the therapy that they need and follow through. I would say, especially if it's a child and you are worried, or somebody points out that, you know, the child may need some assistance, that you follow through with it. Because that's the best thing. I wanted what was best for Elijah. And I think what helped me a little bit with him is having a background in mental health and working with the system throughout the years, that when I noticed something was going on, I sought out help. And I think many times as parents or family members, when issues are going on, we know they're going on, but we really are not, I think we're in denial a lot. And so we don't take the necessary steps that we need to. But I mean, in the long run, especially for a child, if you notice that something's going on and have some concern, that we take those steps to be able to help those kids as much as possible.
Thank you. And Elijah, are you still there?
Elijah, come back. He's here.
Yes.
Hey, Elijah. Just wanting to know, do you have any advice for the listening audience that their loved ones are, but they're not there yet? They don't even feel like they need help.
Can you repeat the question?
So do you have any advice for the people that are listening today, where their loved ones are trying to get help for them, but they don't feel like they need help? What does it take to get to the point where you recognize you actually need the help that people say you need?
I mean,
He's thinking hard.
I want them to think hard. We got to challenge them today.
No, she said, what is, okay, like, what's your advice? Like, I went and took you to Odyssey and whatever else. What's your advice for those kids, for people who, when their family members seek out help, and you probably don't think it was an issue? What's your advice for those people?
I mean, seek help the best way you can. I mean, like,
what if you didn't think anything was wrong?
I mean, you still go seek help, because like that's the only way you gonna like know if you really need help. Like if you just go to like a therapist or something, like, or anybody that's willing to help you. Like if you go to them and they help you, you'll really know like, oh, I really had this problem, or you know, I really need help with this. Like that's how you really gonna know if someone else tells you like, you know, this really what you should really do. But yeah, just go seek help anyway. Like if you feel like you don't need help, like at least try and go seek and go get help for yourself, because at least you'll know what's really wrong, like how you feeling.
Thank you, Elijah.
Ms. Foster, can I just make a comment?
Yeah,
with
I
that
see your
question?
comment over on the side. I was gonna go ahead, Ms.
Okay.
Hall.
Yeah, again, language is so important when we talk to our loved ones, when it comes to what we are seeing happening to them. It's don't accuse, but you know, keep it in the I statements, meaning I see this, I'm concerned, this is how it's affecting me, not you.
because everybody's defenses go up when we point the finger at them to say something is wrong. But if you say to them, I see this is going on and it makes me feel this way, then that's what strikes the chord. It's not you are doing this and you're doing this and you're making me feel, because nobody can make me feel anything. I feel hurt because I see the person I love hurting. So I would say to them, I see that you keep drinking every day and it's really hurting me because there's nothing I can do, but I see what it's doing to you. That's a different question. You know, my dad, God rest his soul, said to me, I just want you to get yourself together before I leave this earth. That messed me up. I will never forget that, even 30 years out. Why? Because he didn't say, Lucy, you're a mess. He said, baby, I see what you're up to and it's really hurting me. I just pray that you get yourself together before I leave this earth. And I was like, oh my God, you know, the thought of my father dying, first of all, really messed me up, blew my high that day too. And then the second thing was, I did want him to see me do well on this earth. And so, you know, those are the kind of conversations. Language is so important to all of us. So don't accuse. Just keep it in the I statement. Again, I write a lot about that because it's so important that we learn how to talk recovery.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, and we tell couples that all the time. When you're trying to highlight something in your relationship, you have to make it internal, how it makes you feel because of A, B, and C. So yes, you are absolutely correct, Ms. Hall. We're not trying to accuse people of anything. So for those listening, and you're trying to get assistance for your loved ones, having those conversations and recognizing the language that you use when you are having those conversations, but mainly focusing on how it impacts you internally. I think we have one more question.
Actually, I have two more questions.
Okay.
Another one just came in as well. Is there an organization like Mary Hall Freedom House that serves men?
Yes, like I said, there is St. Jude's. There's also Covenant Communities that is strictly for men as Covenant. There's an organization called STAN. So Covenant is in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. STAN Incorporated is out in DeKalb County. St. Jude's is also in Fulton, Atlanta area. So yes, there are programs that are out there. Again, Georgia Council on Substance Abuse has a peer mandated hotline that's open from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. to talk to family members as well as that person that is addicted or is in recovery that wants to connect. So there are many ways in which you can get resources, as it has been stated by Ms. Foster, through the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. There was another question.
Yeah, and actually on the chat, Ryan chimed in of where he went.
So Ryan, you want to share your resource?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Sorry, I was looking back up.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I went to Penfield down in Alapaha, like way South Georgia, but there's a women's campus up in North Georgia, and then there's another men's campus, I believe, up North Georgia. But I went the one in South Georgia, and I really loved it. It was only 6 weeks, so I guess it could have been a little bit longer, but the cat was out of the bag and I was finally at rehab. So I was like, good, I'm doing it kind of thing. So
Good for you. Thank you, Ryan.
you're welcome.
Yeah, and then the final question that I do have is, when Ms. Evans took Elijah to get help, did he go willingly, and was he open to meeting with the therapist?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any problem because he knew I think was once he got to my house and things were a lot different than where he was used to going. It was almost like I thought I was doing good, but there's something going on and maybe I wasn't doing as well as I thought I was doing. The good thing about him that once he got to some stability, and even to like when I first enrolled him in his school that he was going to, the first day he was already in the school, and when I took him to the school, And I walked in the classroom, introduced myself to the teacher, let her know that I was his aunt and he was living with me now, and asked her about a parent-teacher conference. And she met with me immediately that day because that was the first time any adult had ever come to school with him. And so when he was doing projects and I was there for parent-teacher conference and helping him with his projects and school and stuff, it was a difference to him. It was like, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be. So when it came to, he was struggling with a lot of things that was going on with him from childhood up until when he got with me. So he went willingly. I didn't have any problems. He realized that there were some issues going on with him that probably weren't quite quote unquote normal. And so, he never fought it. In fact, he really embraced the counseling and really enjoyed being a part of Clubhouse with other kids with similar backgrounds that he had. So I didn't have any trouble with him at all. He was very open to it.
Thank you. So I thank everyone for joining us today to talk about the state of mental health. A lot of our focus today was on substance use disorders, and we did that because we had some experts that could truly talk to people that were either in recovery or people that were contemplating the next steps for their lives. And so we felt it was very important to bring in Ms. Hall and bring in Ryan, who has life experience in walking the life of recovery. And both of them are dedicated to reaching back and helping the next person. And then, of course, with our panelists, with Ms. Evans and Elijah, we just really appreciate you guys. You guys have always stepped up to the plate when we needed you, just to encourage parents and other peers of Elijah's age. And Ms. Montgomery, it's always a pleasure working with Fulton County Schools. You each have 5 seconds, 10 seconds to give one tip, one coping skill, a strategy, word of encouragement to our listening public. Ms. Hall, I'll start with you.
Yes, my word of encouragement would be hope. Just stay hopeful and know that this too shall pass, and that I say this to everybody: stay hopeful, stay healthy, and stay helpful. Reach out to somebody else today and get the help you need. If it's you who needs help, if it's somebody who knows somebody who needs help, reach out for the resources, because help is available. And thank you, Fulton County. Thank you, Ms. Foster, for this opportunity to share with people, because we just got to put it out there. People do need help.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Ryan, words of encouragement for our listening audience.
I would definitely say hope for sure, and try to be still and just kind of digest everything and just really try to think all of everything that's going on out in the world and everything, and just try to stay still. That's the best.
Thank you. Miss Evans, Elijah, give us a word of encouragement.
I'll just say ditto to what both of them said, and then the consistency, and then it's got to be the willingness on both parties to try to make things better. I know, and Elijah's not listening, so I'll speak for him too. Ditto.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Montgomery, students and parents, they need it. Words of encouragement.
I would just say, be nice to yourself. It's okay to not be okay right now. It's just not okay to not do anything about it. So
that's right.
We all have our own coping. We all have our own strategies and toolbox. But it's okay to not be okay right now.
Thank you. To my listening audience, Latrina Foster, Director of the Fulton County Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, where we stand here continuously ready to serve. You are still able to obtain behavioral health services through the Fulton County Department of Behavioral Health. All of our resources are on the website at www.fultoncountyga.gov. We hope that we're holding our commitment to you, and that's to provide you with cope and hope as we shift through the world of COVID-19. Stay connected. We look forward to speaking with you all again soon. Take care.
You guys have a good day, all right?
Thank you so much, Ryan.
I
You were
appreciate everything.
great.
I'm
Ms.
sorry
Hall,
that I can't
thank you.
talk.
No, you did fine. Listen, I think it's so important. It's so important for people to hear from people that have actually walked the walk, if that makes sense. I mean,
Well, I
and that's
just-
why the peer-to-peer counseling is so important right now, because it's,
Well, I appreciate you
more
giving me the
receptive.
chance to talk. It's much appreciated because I didn't
I
get to tell
appreciate
you
it.
last time I met you. I had a really bad stroke as well, like 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, and so I had to learn how to walk, talk, all that stuff. So I get way anxious, like trying to like think what I need to say and everything.
Right, right.
So that's
No,
why
you
I
did great.
apologize.
No, trying the next
was-
person.
It
We
was
thank
nice to
you.
virtually meet everybody.
Thanks, Chelsea.
All right, you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too. Fulton County Communications, as always, I appreciate you all.
You are welcome anytime.
Thank you.